Hi YouTube, it's Abigail again, back with another video. I just wanted to update you guys on the progress of some of the plants I got recently from my plant haul. It's only been 7 or 8 days, but guys, I promise you there are updates to be made. First in line, Cissus Discolor. Okay, so this was my #1 top wishlist plant from that plant haul that I posted a while back. I'll make sure to leave that somewhere that you can access on this video. But we've lost a couple leaves and it's been a bit of a struggle. It's definitely been a lot of experimenting with this plant. So the top is looking real bare right now, and we still have some left on the bottom of these vines here. Thank goodness I had enough leaves to really play around with, because I was really worried that I was going to lose all these leaves before I had a chance to really find out what works for this plant. So I was thankfully awarded a little bit of grace with just the amount of leaves that this plant had in the first place. So I saved the leaves that it dropped for the purposes of this video so that I could show you some updates, but I'm going to show you what that looks like. So these leaves started to fade in color. This is what they started to look like, which is, I'm just going to show you a close-up of what these leaves are actually supposed to look like. You can see huge difference. So they were definitely fading in color. They were doing this weird splotchy thing. So the leaves were fading in color. As you saw, they look kind of like a watercolor painting that got water splashed on it or something like that. The leaves almost seemed a little thin, if I remember correctly. They didn't have so much of that velvety feel, as they felt more like paper. I kind of had to play around with this plant. I was really worried that it was root rot, because that is my biggest fear when it comes to my plants, is that I'm overwatering it, which means that I have a tendency to underwater. So I knew this plant did like more of a moisture-rich environment, and so I very hesitantly gave it some more water, and this was maybe 3 or 4 days of me thinking possibly it was the lighting that was having that effect because of the fading on the leaves. But I gave it some water and it seemed to be more stable after a good watering. So I had this plant kind of, I'm going to turn off this light right here so you can kind of see and get an idea of what the natural lighting looks like in this area here. So this is what the natural lighting looks like. Again, not super bright, not super dark or anything. This is, I would say, maybe 4 feet back from an east-facing window. It's back on for you guys. I do have a grow light bulb in this lamp here, so it does provide my plants with a little bit more light. And I originally had this plant in this area right here, and I moved it away from this area. I do a little bit of research, but I mainly just like to experiment because I feel like every environment is different. So I put this plant back further from the window that I have here. I'm trying to see if I can find you a good example of what happened to the leaves as I moved them away from light. You can see they started to darken. It still has some of that silvery veining right there, but otherwise it darkened a little bit. Then I realized that maybe it needed some water, so I very hesitantly watered it, and you can see those are mosquito bits, so don't mind that. You can see I've definitely added quite a bit of moisture in here. It's not sopping wet or anything. I did make sure that this plant had drainage holes on the bottom, but it seemed to be doing a lot better after I watered it. So I think this plant is definitely going to be one of those where I'm really going to have to watch my watering and play around with as far as that goes. Oh, this is a good example of what I meant by the watercoloring type thing. You can see right there in this area here. But I think with the grow light bulb here and the light from this natural east-facing window, I'm hoping will be enough light for this plant to sustain itself and be okay. I do have a little essential oil diffuser over here that I kind of use to provide my plants with just a little bit more of humidity, because I do have my plants concentrated in one area, which is going to naturally boost the humidity in this area, but I wanted a little bit more because I know the Cissus Discolor is a little bit more of a humid loving plant. So I have this. I got it from Amazon. I think it's really cute. The light shines too. You can change the lights. Isn't that so cute? I usually have it on the purple setting, but sometimes I play around with that. And I just load that up with some water. It doesn't stay on for very long. It's got a very small amount of water that it retains. And if you put too much, it won't even function properly. Some of these leaves I ripped off because I knew they weren't going to last, and I didn't want the plant to put any more energy towards leaves that weren't going to make it, or I didn't think were going to make it. And instead I wanted it to put it towards the leaves that are already healthy. So these seem to be doing all right, and I'm hoping, oh my gosh, I love this plant so much, so I'm really hoping that we have a good outcome for this guy. So I do have some updates for my Rex begonia here, and I got this one from Plant Haul as well a couple videos back. It is showing signs of a new leaf. Super cute, and it is just beautiful, and I'm really loving it. It seems the soil does dry out pretty quickly on this one, and they are more water loving as well. I guess I just decided to go to a plant nursery and pick some really high maintenance plants without realizing it. The Pilea peperomioides, on the other hand, is also showing signs of a new leaf. Hopefully I can show that to you guys. That's about as best as I can do because I'm fighting these other leaves to show you. I do think I overwatered it a little bit too because the leaves are showing a little bit of yellowing. I'm probably going to water this according to my Ruby Cascade over here, just because I find that it's very similar in watering habits to the Pilea peperomioides. My Maranta is also a moisture-loving plant, so I'm just watering left and right apparently. But it did unfurl those two new leaves. It's that one right there, and this bright one over here. This will be a good thumbnail. This is my, why am I forgetting the names of all of these plants? I think it's my Alocasia dark velvet, something like that. I'll leave the name in the description box because I apparently just can't think straight today. So this is what it's looking like. It is in the process of unfurling a new leaf right here. And I did overwater it a little bit. You can see just by the yellowing. So I'm really loving this plant. I think it's really pretty and gothic looking, but hopefully we have good results with that one as well. My Cissus amazonica, on the other hand, guys, is really, really struggling. Almost, I think possibly more than the Cissus Discolor, but I will say I care a little bit more about my Cissus Discolor than I do my Cissus amazonica. I do, however, think both of them are really cute plants. So my Cissus amazonica has lost several leaves up at the top. You can see some of them are really, some of these are really crinkly. And then down here, I do have some mature leaves that seem to be doing all right, but I also have some less mature leaves that are really, really thin and limp. So I don't know. If you guys have any recommendations for what I can do for this, please let me know. I did water it recently, but hopefully I can keep this thing alive. I do again have some plant insurance propagations going right now. I don't really have any updates as far as the Cissus amazonica goes, but I also propagated, and I know it's really hard to propagate Cissus Discolor, but it seems that the only method that I've found that truly works, as far as I've seen through YouTube and other people's videos, is the sphagnum prop box propagation method. Otherwise, my Hoya publicalis does have two little leaves. I think I had the two leaves when I first got this plant. I'll show you what that looks like. Look at how cute these two little guys are. So my Cebu Blue does look like it has a couple of leaves that are going a little bit yellow. So I'm gonna let it chill on the water a little bit. But I will show you what my Cebu Blue looks like right now. Oh my gosh, I almost hit myself in the face with this thing. Woo! It's not very stable if you can't tell. This is what it looks like. That's the yellowing leaf that I was talking about. I will say it seems that the leaves that are yellowing are mainly at the base of this plant. And since it is putting out new growth, I'm hoping that it'll be all right. It seems to be doing probably a little bit better than my other ones. Alrighty everyone, well thank you so much for watching, and I highly encourage all of you to subscribe if you want more planty content. Any support I get at this point is incredibly motivational, and it's just very much appreciated. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye!